I had engaged in a little battle online, which usually happens, over this new information about George Zimmerman in the Treyvon Martin case. It seems if you read the papers or any of these online things, you would think George Zimmerman has raped a 6-year-old girl. That's pretty much what I got from it, because as I read, they really didn't have his age.
So
when this happened.
They're talking about something that happened to a 6-year-old.
His cousin.
Yes,
right.
His 6-year-old cousin.
Right.
So,
but how they report it,
right.
They don't tell you that he might have been young at the time as well.
Well, here's how they report it. They say she was 6 at the time.
Yeah.
And then later on in the story, they say what her age now might be.
Wow.
And then I guess you're supposed to do the math and figure out how old Zimmerman is, which they never said in the article, and then subtract that. Like, they didn't say she was 6, he was 8 at the time when it started. Now,
they're so hateable.
Regardless.
They're so hateable what they do.
I don't know what happened. She's claiming that for 10 years, from the time she was 6 to 16, George Zimmerman would fondle her and things under the covers in bed and touch her and things like that. And it continued for 10 years. And she says now, she's coming out of the woodwork now to say it was some type of molestation. I don't know. I don't know what her agenda is. I don't know. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm not saying she's right. It could just be goofy kids touching each other. Hey, we all told stories about when we were kids. I remember being in kindergarten and showing a girl my hiney, and I saw her hiney in the shed, in the backyard shed.
It's called just checking out shit.
Yeah.
When you're really young, you don't even know what molestation is yet.
Now, if it continues for 10 years, now you're talking, she's 15, he's 17. There's no problem with that. 18, 16, still, there's no fucking problem with that. And then it just stopped, I guess.
Why did she come out with this?
I don't know.
She decided it hurt her?
She's witness number 9.
Because she said that this was the first time she's not been afraid of him.
Not been afraid of him.
Like, because now he's in jail.
Yeah, well, he's out on bail.
Well,
but I don't know. It does seem like the timing is very convenient. And this, again, has nothing to do with the actual case. It's more of this shit that we do these days, like you're seeing in the election and everything else, where other shit is there to just totally fuck up what is actually supposed to be dealt with.
Right. And what really matters.
And what matters.
Do we have a clip of the media just reporting the story and not giving his age at the time? I would love to hear one of those.
I didn't hear any broadcast reports on it. I did read a lot of print
And
shit.
even in the print, they're not really saying his
Even in
age?
the print.
That's crazy.
It was the whole thing of how you had to add and subtract stuff to figure out how old he was at the time.
Wow.
She also said that he said stuff about black people that wasn't nice. It's amazing how they're printing that nonsense. That which may be true. I don't know, but it's not.
I was like, hey, so on Twitter last night, of course, I just get fucking bombarded with people that obviously, so many people don't even know anything about the law.
Did you
which
start
is fine,
this?
but
Did
don't
you start it, though?
No.
You just reported the Zimmerman thing?
I just reported it.
And then they came after you?
And they came after me. They always do.
Those motherfuckers.
Motherfucker.
Let's read Ant's tweet that started the whole thing.
Then they.
And why are you shaking your head?
I'm just reading the first article that pops up when you type in George Zimmerman into Google.
Yeah.
It's from the Boston Herald, and just like Anthony says, Zimmerman's cousin, who said Zimmerman molested her for 10 years, beginning when she was 6 years old. Period. The entire first page of this article doesn't mention how old he was.
And no one's going to keep reading. If you don't read something in the first paragraph, that's what everyone's going to say. He's a child molester, did you see?
That's horrible.
They're pigs.
Because
they are pigs.
Age absolutely matters in this case.
Totally matters. Jesus
Huge
Christ.
difference.
It absolutely matters.
Like I said, if you read it the way it is in the press, you would think last week he fucked a 6-year-old.
Wow.
Oh, Uncle George.
An 8-year-old and a 6-year-old.
That's fucking around. It's you know, you could.
Here it is, finally. This halfway down the second page. Experts said children who act out sexually with other kids have been exposed to domestic violence and pornography. Children as young as 8 the age the witness said Zimmerman was when he first touched her inappropriately. It's an afterthought into something else that they're talking about.
It's not even the facts of the story. No. It's there as a fucking aside.
And they did research. What did Ron Valeri tell us at the time? This goes way back, and I never forgot it. But he said basically people only read the first the first 2 paragraphs of every story.
Maybe.
I forgot exactly what he said, but it was either the first paragraph or the first 2. Yeah. And studies show after that, you pretty much know everything you need to know, and you never read further. In general.
The first thing I learned in
and
journalism
these guys know
class
that.
Yeah.
Was
journalism.
Who, what, when, where, why in the first 2 paragraphs.
There you go.
So it might be the first 2 paragraphs. So yeah, research has shown that people never go past that. So if you want to kind of skew the facts a little bit, you leave the age out of the first 2 paragraphs, and you're almost guaranteed that most people will never read far enough to see how old he actually was.
Who's the reporter?
It's a bunch of them. I read the Reuters story was the same thing. It's just they're terrible.
We should ask. I would love to ask a reporter on the
Why
the air.
wouldn't you put that?
Hey,
in?
we want to talk to you about the George Zimmerman story. So they'll get on the phone to talk about it.
Even look at the headline: "Witness accuses George Zimmerman of sexually molesting her." Now that. And then they got a picture of George Zimmerman now instead of a little kid picture of him. I mean, it just
that's
it
horrible.
reeks of trying to put something across.
And it's the Boston Herald. That's a big paper. It's not some like shitty blog or something.
Yeah. The author of this story is Francis Robles.
All right,
from
Francis.
McClatchy newspapers.
So how about we get him on the phone?
Francis.
Let's get him on the phone and ask him why.
I'll send a link to the sex man.
Yeah, let's try to get him on the phone.
What was going on now? Yes, I'm trying to educate people because people are very stupid. I don't expect people to be lawyers or savvy with the laws, stand your ground law in Florida. I don't expect it. But then don't argue with people that do know the fucking law like you know it. There are people saying, well, wasn't Treyvon, can he say that he was standing his ground because he felt threatened that he was being followed? Mm-hmm. No. You can't fucking use deadly physical force on someone because they're following you. You dummy. You can use deadly physical force if someone's pounding your head into the pavement. And you have the idea that you are going to die. Then you can. Then you're allowed.
So what started this whole thing, Ant?
That story. I had to fucking...
So, all right. Someone tweeted more Treyvon news, right? And then there's the link to the story you're talking about.
And I said, holy witch hunt. If true, he was 8 years old. No relevance to the case.
Which is more than fair, by
And then
the way.
people had to tell me, well, he wasn't 8 during the whole thing. I'm like, I think I understand how years and birthdays work.
Well, neither was she.
No, exactly.
Yeah, just do the math. 8 and 6, 9 and 7, 10 and 8, 11 and 9. They're pretty much the same age.
Pretty much. It falls into that thing of diddling when you're a kid. You fuck around. You do things. And I said, if this is the case, because somebody said, well, it shows there's a character issue here. And I go, all right, then how about we take all of Trayvon's tweets that were out there about his wannabe thug gangsta drug dealing and fucking, use that as a character frame of reference. You're racist. And then everyone wants to call me a racist because I point this shit out. I point out the shit that shouldn't be fucking even talked about. Blow me.
It's more than fair what you did yesterday. It
yeah,
really
I
is.
think. It was a great, and then
it's horrible they're not mentioning how old he was.
And then some people go,
started.
"Hey, Anthony, why do you bother doing this? Why not just relax?" And I'm like, okay, I had to tweet a picture of me where I was when I was tweeting all this. I was poolside.
All right.
And then in between tweets, I would take a dip. I'd swim around, I'd get out, and then I'd tweet more. So I'm okay. I'm not sitting there raving in front of a computer in a dark room, very angry. Well, I am angry, but yeah. So this whole story is more smoke and mirrors by mainstream media. Just this witch hunt that's going on. When the fact of the matter is, here's the basic facts. The guy was on Neighborhood Watch. He sees somebody that he deems worthy of looking into a little further, because that's what he did. He was a Neighborhood Watch guy. When you're a Neighborhood Watch guy, you see someone walking through the neighborhood that isn't familiar, you might want to inquire. or at least watch what they're doing. That's what they do. Without the end result of Treyvon being shot, everything's fine, right? Mm-hmm. Everything's fine up to that point. Mm-hmm. He's watching the neighborhood. Well, then, apparently, from what the witnesses say and from the beatings on each of the people, he was attacked. When he was attacked and felt that his life was being threatened, which some of his wounds definitely show, he pulled a gun out right before he shot Treyvon. He didn't brandish it. He didn't pull it out on Treyvon, and then Treyvon tried to attack him because he felt threatened with the guy with the gun. He pulled it out at the last minute, shot him from inches away, where he then died.
That's one version of the story.
This falls, yeah.
That's one version.
This falls into stand your ground.
Others would say differently.
Others would say, but what could they fucking say where the evidence shows differently? By witness testimony, wounds, where the bullet hit him, the flash, the powder burns on Treyvon's clothing. It shows that the gun was used from inches away.
So a lot of these people aren't educating themselves and reading all this stuff.
And the law gives George Zimmerman the opportunity to defend himself in that situation. And this is the stuff that will come out in the trial. And if what I just put forth comes out in the trial and that's what happened, George Zimmerman will be acquitted. He will be acquitted.
Whoa!
And so far, this is what the evidence shows.
Right.
The evidence does not show that George Zimmerman was an instigator. It doesn't show that he attacked Treyvon. It shows that he was doing his job as a neighborhood watch guard of his neighborhood. And a lot of people also taking into consideration this 911 operator saying, don't follow him. He never said that. George Zimmerman said, I'm going to follow him. The 911 operator said, we don't need you to do that. And the 911 operator has no authority whatsoever in telling anybody what they can or can't do. They could give opinion, they could give suggestions, but they don't have any legal right, and you don't have any legal obligation to follow their orders. You're the best person in that situation to dictate what you should or shouldn't do. And people are confusing that with an authority figure telling him not to follow Treyvon. No. Again, he's a neighborhood watch guy. And at that moment, testimony from him and witnesses say he was walking then back to his truck when Treyvon decided to confront George Zimmerman.
Well, don't you have it all figured out?
I certainly have read a fuckload about this. I didn't just read news stories either. I pawed through police reports, witness testimony that was given to the police.
This is like the O.J. case where if you said to this is split very much down racial lines. Not 100%. I think more white people think that he's guilty than black people think he isn't. But if you talk to any black person, they're going to see it different. And I'm not saying that that's right or wrong.
Very racially
it's a racially divided case.
You're absolutely right.
Kind of have these from time to time, right?
Yeah, we certainly are, but I don't know why we can't just look at the fucking facts of a case and not throw all that pure emotion in. I know people want to, but you can't when especially if you're trying to argue a point in a public forum, you just come off sounding stupid.
You got 140 characters to make a point.
It's very difficult.
I find I have to block people sometimes because I know it's going to be a long night. If I start trying to make little arguments, and then I just can't do it. Like with Tosh or whatever. I'm like, I can't do it on Twitter.
Well, I mean, the point today, though, is how they're not reporting how old he was. That's crazy.
And they're the same fucking media that edited his fucking call.
Yeah, his
even
call.
Even if Zimmerman's guilty and he's a piece of shit, you can't edit the call to make it look like he said what he didn't say.
Yeah.
And amazing how that went away.
But it just shows you why it went away, because the media knows they do this all the time.
They all do it.
It's not just with this story.
Yep.
They adjust the facts all the time in a way where they could get away with it. Yeah, because technically, if you think about it, technically they did say how old he was, Technically they did. On page 2, all the way down.
Dig through and use a calculator.
But man, that headline is really important.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And they chose at that point, not to put the age anywhere near the headline or the first couple of paragraphs.
So the Boston Herald reprints the Miami Herald story. They're all owned by the same company.
Family, right?
The Boston Herald, however, did some choice editing to the first paragraph.
Oh.
Because I just read the original Miami Herald story.
Wow.
And is the Miami Herald
The Miami Herald story is the one that I've highlighted.
Is that is that the original though?
That's the original
Or
story.
did Miami Herald
No, that's
come
the
up with
original
it?
story.
Wow, what?
The